Hello everybody, welcome to a new episode of Motor Mouth, brought to you by the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. I'm Kendra.
I'm Dan.
And we're here in the gorgeous museum again, as always something new to see here. And I just said that, but we actually took a look at this car in a previous episode, but we were talking about the air shocks.
Right.
Yes. So
yes.
If you missed that episode, go back on the playlist. You can find that one. We're at the back of the car now of our 1912 SGV, which was built in Reading, Pennsylvania. And why did we move to the back of the car, Dan? What have we got today?
Because I'm going to talk about something at the back of the car.
Always
and before
thinking.
you go, do you know there was a car back then called a CGV?
Really?
Yes.
That's confusing.
And I just saw a picture of it, and it kind of thought, ooh, did they make a mistake? And it was a French car, CVG, but they had, there was a company in New York that was importing them, and they actually made some in New York State. So anyway, that was some free information for everybody.
Parlor trivia.
Parlor, yeah. What's a parlor?
I know.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to be talking about seats, like rumble seats and such. And you have a seat. Now we're looking at this one right here in the back of the car, and it has its origin going back to horse-drawn carriages. Okay, and it was for the footman or the groom. So I looked, we have a carriage, it's up in our new room there, that Belgian thing.
Yes.
And that has, it doesn't have a seat, but it's a platform in the back for a footman, okay? So the footman, which was a uniformed servant whose duties included admitting visitors and waiting at table. Obviously, they're not going to be admitting visitors or waiting on tables, but they would still travel with the family, okay? Or a groom, which is somebody to take care of horses,
okay,
which you would need somebody if you're traveling
right.
around. Also, excuse me, they call it a Lackey seat, okay? Now today, that term Lackey, actually you don't hear it that often, but I remember in the past, you hear it for somebody being lazy and not doing things.
Yeah.
But you go back earlier and it's called a footman or a servant or a toady. They use that word.
That's not a nice word.
Toady. And it goes actually back to the 1500s, that term Lackey being used for servant, okay? And that was someone who did menial tasks or runs errands for another, which would be a servant.
Yeah.
All
A
right?
rich person isn't going to do their own menial tasks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. So they created a special place in the vehicle for them. You get the carriages, would be a seat in the back, and the same with the cars here. Now, the seat had different terms. One of them was called a dicky seat, which is in British. It's a dicky seat. French and Italian called a spider seat, okay? Why a spider seat? And again, look at the carriage from Belgium we have, which is sort of like France. It's like next to it, right? Okay?
Neighbors.
It says, originally because the seat or bench was mounted in the open on spidery outriggers. And if you go and you look at that,
yeah.
and so right now we have this carriage I'm talking about. We don't even have it on display yet.
Yeah, we're still building the exhibit area.
Yeah, so that has, it's an enclosed carriage, but there's an open platform in the back, or is it a seat in the back? But you look, I
feel like it's like a bench seat.
Very spidery, and actually it's mounted with leather straps, so it kind of moves. So anyway.
It looks like delicate, like I do see the spider, like spider legs,
yeah.
You know, it's very
when
delicately
I read that and I
there.
thought of that, and it was like a few days later I went up there and I was looking at it, I said, Okay, it all makes sense now.
I can understand that.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's British, French, Italian. How about American? Okay, what do they call an American? Okay, rumble seat or jump seat back here.
Jump seat, yeah.
And there's a little explanation. I found this online in an old magazine called Automobile Topics, 1907. And I just copied the whole paragraph, but I'm going to read about half of it here. It says, in the beginning, an attempt was made to establish a distinctive roadster body, such as this, okay, consisting of a double seat in front and a single or rumble seat behind. So we have the double seat here, and we got the rumble seat in the back here. This was very well, this was very well when that seat was occupied by a groom, but most other persons objected to riding in a Lackey seat. So a folding or detachable double seat has generally been substituted. So we have some cars in here that actually have a rumble seat that folds down. Okay, I'm trying to think that LaSalle is one of it. So we're talking 1929. So
We
you
have
know
a
they're
Model A
progressing.
too over there.
Model A.
that it
I think that
comes
has a trunk though.
Oh, I thought I had a seat.
That's whatever.
We'll check
and,
off
and
camera.
then I'm looking at this middle B here. That has a small seat for two very small people.
Yeah.
But that kind of folds down. I've seen other cars with a full body on it, and they actually have a seat that kind of unfolds here, and you sitting pretty much
Like
like
on
on the running board.
on the side, on the
your
running
feet would be on the running board, and it's like this little metal chair there, and that's where these people would be in.
That's where your Lackey sits.
That's where the Lackey would sit, okay? Now, before we continue, so I hit British, French, Italian, American. How about German? I left this to last because I
boy.
can't pronounce this,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
I'm going to try, I'm going to mess it up, and so all you German language experts out there, you know, call in and write in, tell me how bad I did this. Okay, it's called a Schweigermuttersitz. And
Schweigermuttersitz.
oh, that
Hold on,
means-
can I see it?
you did it better, and I didn't even.
I took German.
Okay, right under my
see.
thumb there.
Right under your thumb.
Translated.
Schwiegermuttersitze.
Okay.
Schwiegermuttersitze.
So you can. Did you see what it's translated
Well, I
into?
know one word, two words in there.
Well, it actually, that's what they call this seat in German, or what they called it back then. But you actually translate that, and it's called mother-in-law seat.
The Schwieger is the
So
in-law part. That's
everybody
funny.
calls these mother-in-law seats. And when we have groups coming through, I like to show them this seat, and we kind of have fun with it. And you know, the adults all laugh, and they think it's pretty clever and stuff. And kids don't understand, so you have to, okay, how do you explain that to them? Okay, so it's a mother-in-law seat, and so there's another, let's see, meaning to that word that you said, that German thing, okay? It's a cactus, okay? Popularly known as the golden barrel cactus, a golden ball or mother-in-law's cushion. It's a cactus, and it looks like this little ball, and you think, okay, that's interesting. It's a species of barrel cactus which is endemic to East Central Mexico. It's rare, endangered, so on and so forth. The German Cactus Society, the Society of Austrian Cactus Friends, and the Swiss Cactus Society voted the species their first cactus of the year in 2008. So there's cactus clubs.
Wait,
out there. Yeah. But the whole thing is, this whole mother-in-law, this cactus, and I'm thinking, that's kind of interesting. So that word, that German word, has two meanings. One is cactus, meaning mother-in-law cactus, and the other one is mother-in-law seat. How's that?
Never
I bet
in my,
you can't get better than that on your
no, I
part.
won't. Never in my life did I think that the Germans would have cactus fan clubs.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem
Well,
their
it's
thing.
German, Austrian, and Swiss.
Okay, well, you know.
I guess they don't have cactus there. You know,
No.
that might be the reason.
How many of them have never seen a cactus?
I don't know.
Like
especially from Mexico.
Yeah.
So
Never. Wow.
there you go.
That's
so next
something.
time you're giving a tour and you come to this car, you can tell them
Oh, we're
all
going to talk
that.
about cacti.
Okay. So we're talking about servants, grooms, mother-in-laws, everything about this seat. So what is the real purpose of this seat, like on this car, 1912 SGV, okay? Besides your mother-in-law, who might not have fun back there, behind, little kids sitting back here who have fun. This
They
looks
have a
like a fun
blast.
seat
Yeah.
because, I point out to children, and they can relate to this, the ride in the back is kind of bumpier than up here in the middle.
It's rumbly.
Okay? Rumbly, yeah. And I always point out buses, okay? Kids
Yeah.
ride school buses. The worst riding place is in the back. But
Where does everyone want to sit?
in the back.
In the back.
Because it's far away from the adults as
That
possible.
too. That helps.
And so they know what I mean. And then I point out, you notice there's handles on the side here, and you can see it there. And so you hold on for dear life. Now, I know we drove this car around Pottstown. Were you holding on
did.
for dear life
Yes,
there?
I was.
And we
And
were going kind of slow, though.
we were. It was we went over railroad tracks that really
That's right.
shattered my teeth quite
Yeah.
a bit. And actually, the handle, I remember too, the one handle isn't secured that well.
Right.
Like the screw is just
Yeah.
the wood strip from being 100 years old. And the handle came loose. It wasn't really helpful.
No. Well, Mike was driving. He took it easy.
He
on
did.
it, though. So.
He did.
So anyway, the extra seat actually was used for the, see if I can say this one right, is mechanician, which is the old-timey word for mechanic. So you would have Joe, the rich guy, he has his neat car because the rich folk
Yeah.
had these. He would want to drive.
Of course.
Mrs. Joe, the rich wife, would be the passenger.
Right.
And they would have the mechanic or the mechanician in the back. And that's because the cars would break down
Or get
here
a
and
flat
there.
tire.
Or a flat tire. And Joe, the rich guy, or Mrs. Joe, the rich wife, they're not going to
Oh,
work on this
no.
stuff. And so they have the mechanic here. And that's where he would be riding
Yeah.
back there. So
Wow.
that's pretty much it. And as I'm talking, I realize, okay, this car does have a spare tire. I'm looking.
It does.
I don't see a spare tire on here.
I know. There's only
So,
one though.
Yeah. So
And if you use it, you've lost your side view mirror because it's
yes.
attached to the,
Well,
the spare
if
tire.
but if you take this off, you're going to put another one.
Well, that's
there.
true. You
Yeah.
would still be able to.
So,
a
so anyway,
flat
so
one.
that's it. That's a story about a mother-in-law seat. And again, when we have tours coming through, visitors, whatever, I like talking about this seat because it's interesting. And doing this research, I found even more about it now,
Yeah.
especially the mother-in-law
The
cactus.
cactus is good.
So-
That's a prickly seat.
Yes, yes,
Poor mothers-in-law.
mothers-in-law.
Mothers-in-law. And like you said, there's a couple of rumble seats or mother-in-law
Mm-hmm,
seats throughout the museum. So the next time you're in, keep your eyes open for those.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay.
Very cool. Well,
it.
thanks everyone for joining us this time on Motor Mouth, and we will see you next time with another cool piece of history right here in the museum. Thanks for joining us.